So it's May 2nd. It's the beginning of the new month of May, and I thought I would do a garden tour of everything that I have going on around the perimeter of my entire house. This is the silver queen corn that I started from seed February 6th. I had really bad germination, so I kept popping in more and more seeds in there, and then they would start germinating. So a bunch of them are, I don't know, for lack of a better term, older than others, and they are already producing. I'm actually going to do another video where I harvest a whole bunch of cobs later today, because today marks 85 days since I started sowing them, and a bunch of them are ready. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. I have about 6 raised beds around my house, and I decided to do raised beds because here in Florida I have very sandy soil, and it rains here almost every day during the summer, to the point where my backyard pretty much floods. So it's very difficult for me to grow anything if it's not in a raised bed. So I kind of built all of this myself, the majority of it within the last year since COVID started, but I had 2 or 3 beds before COVID and started gardening that way. But anyways, this is kind of like the entrance. This wall here, I wanted some scarlet runner beans to grow on it. I actually planted these seeds here, I want to say December, and they're very slow growing at first, probably because of the cold, but now that it's getting nice and warm, they're really starting to pick up growth. And apparently they're really good pollinators and attract hummingbirds. I'm trying really hard to attract all of those pollinators, butterflies, hummingbirds. I haven't really seen much on them though, but we'll see what's going on. This is Celosa. It looks pretty bad right now. It's going to seed, but everyone that sees this plant always asks me what it is. It's usually bright, the whole thing, like purple, pink, and a lot of people like looking at it. And then this all here are 10 purple passion asparagus crowns that I bought from Pine Tree Garden Seeds, and I didn't really have a place for them yet, so I put them in these 1-gallon containers with a bunch of compost so they could start growing until I found a spot, and now I need to plant them. So all that ferny looking stuff there is just a bunch of purple passion asparagus. These are my bananas. I have a lot of different varieties. This first one here, this set of 3 that you see right there, is the ice cream banana. I've never had them yet, but everyone says the flavor is really good, like it tastes like vanilla ice cream or something. And then I have a praying hands banana tree, which is said to be one of the best dessert or sweet eating varieties. The rest of them are dwarf, and the last one at the end is namwa, I believe. I have not harvested any bananas from them yet. I don't know. I do put a lot of fertilizer and water to them, but maybe I'll get lucky this year. And then this is African blue basil. I have a bunch of these all over my garden to attract bees. The bees love this plant by far more than anything else I've ever grown in this garden. They skip the other plants to go to this. So if you want to attract bees, go get yourself some African blue basil. You cannot grow these from seeds. You either start it from cuttings or you buy plants. I found these for like $5 for a 1-gallon container at Lucas Nursery in Orlando, Florida. So it's a really good deal on them. This is yucca. My aunt, my family's from the Dominican Republic. We eat a lot of yucca. So she gave me some of her sticks from some that she harvested last year. So these were planted in here from the sticks, poked into the ground in June. So usually you leave them in the ground, let them grow for 9 to 12 months, and then you want to start harvesting them. So I think I'll leave them here until June, give them a full year and harvest them. I don't really know what to expect first time growing those. This is sweet potato that I started last year. This is the Puerto Rico. I think it's like a bush version. I also planted this in here, I want to say in July of last year. Really slow growing. I did try to harvest some of them, but they were really small, so I kind of just left it. But it makes for a really good ground cover, and it suppresses all the weeds in this area, so I'm just gonna leave it for now. And this area has a lot of sunflowers and zinnias. I guess I'll walk down this way. These are a bunch of tomatoes. All of these tomatoes were started here last year. I want to say I transplanted them into the garden in September, except for this one here, which is the Sartre Rosé tomato. It's yellow with like purple shoulders. I've talked about it in other videos. I started this from seed in January. It has one tomato growing right there. I don't know how these are going to do. It's May. Our tomato growing season here in Florida is done with. The rain and the heat and everything really mess with tomato production. It causes a lot of diseases, and when the temperatures start getting above 95 degrees, you start losing your flowers. The tomatoes start losing flowers. So even if you get your plant to survive and not get destroyed or killed by diseases, you have problems with producing because it's so hot that these flowers cannot pollinate. A lot of them just drop off. You don't even get tomato formation. So there really is no point in struggling to try to get these to survive through the summer. I'm gonna try. I think I'm gonna chop them down so they have a flush of new growth that's not affected by diseases. Maybe get them to live into autumn or fall, and then they'll start producing tomatoes for me again once the temperatures drop a little bit. This is purple tree collards. It's not purple. I don't know why that's the name of it, but I started these from seed last year over the summer, and they're finally like really taking off. These get really, really big, like 6 foot, 8 foot tall. All the leaves obviously are edible, like kind of like collards, I guess, or it is a collard. It's a really pretty plant. And then over here, this is like my zucchini and bell pepper bed. All of my beds are 4 foot wide. This one is 16 foot long. This one is also 16 foot long. And the one in the back there, I think, is 11 foot long, but they're all 4 foot wide. I find if you try to make a bed wider than 4 foot, it's very difficult to garden in it and reach over and reach through everything. So 4 foot is good for me. So this is my bell peppers. I believe this one is golden Marconi, or it's the regular red Marconi. I have not been successful with bell peppers ever before. I'm very surprised at how well they're doing. I think my success is because I'm growing them at the right time of the year. These were started from seed, I want to say December 15th. This is an albino one. I had a random mixed bell pepper seed mix, and I don't know, she got in there somehow, and I'm leaving it. It's pretty cool. And these are just more of the same Marconis. These are all onions that I got from Dixondale Farms. I found out about Dixondale Farms kind of, I think, too late. This is a short day onion mix, so it's got yellow, white, and red onions in there. I planted these all in here, like, I want to say at the end of January. Most people in Florida buy their onion sets from Dixondale Farms as soon as they come out. So that means they're delivered to you like in November, and then they plant them in the ground to let them grow. And now I'm seeing pictures all over Facebook and everywhere of people harvesting them right now. So mine are starting to bulb, but I don't know how long they're gonna last in this bed, if they're gonna get any bigger. I don't know. But I do know that I started a little bit later than what I should have. I learned that now. Definitely will start again in fall. But anyway, so yeah, these are the golden Marconis. They're taking forever to ripen up. And then I have the regular red on the other side of this bed here. So my garden bed style, I like to mix a row of vegetables followed by a row of flowers. There are flowers. So here's a row of sweet bell peppers, right? And then I have a row of zucchini. There were flowers in here, but the zucchini has kind of overtaken everything and kind of crowded them out. There were some cosmos in there, but they can't compete very well when you have something next to it with leaves that are that big. So I am getting some bug damage. If I had to guess, I would say that this is the cucumber or the little green squash caterpillar with like white lines on its back. I usually have them really bad, like way worse than this. They usually eat the whole plant by now. But I found spinosad, which is an organic treatment that kills worms and caterpillars, which works slightly better in my opinion than BT spray. So I really haven't had much worm damage, and I've been able to harvest a lot. So this is the Coco Zell. It's an heirloom Italian zucchini. She's growing really, really well. I started these from seed, I want to say December 15th as well. December 15th was kind of like my date for starting the majority of everything in my spring garden. And most everything was transplanted into this garden bed the first week of February, I want to say. So yeah, so this, I have 2 Coco Zell plants. I had 3, but only 2 really made it. And then I have the onions all on the edge of the entire garden bed. This is another row of sweet bell peppers. So yeah, here's the zucchini row. Some more flowers. There's some nasturtium right there. This was the Cosmos. I forget the name of this one. Dang it. But anyways, and marigolds. So yeah, and there's some zinnias over there, that little orange flower. Not doing too great underneath the shade of these zucchinis, but anyways, so this was another row now of regular bell peppers. I took the seeds of these out of a big red bell pepper from the grocery store, and they're growing. They look great. And this plant has 2 of them down there. So there's a row of 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. Then I have a row, some more flowers. These are zinnias. I really love zinnias. I have them everywhere, and I've tried all different kinds of varieties this year. But I have to say, if you like really, really big zinnias, get the California State Fair mix. They're huge. Those plants get like 5 feet tall, 4 to 5 feet tall. And the blooms are also really, really big. I don't remember what variety this is, but I know it's not California Giants State Fair or whatever that mix is called, because I didn't start any seeds of those yet. I definitely am now. These were all different varieties I wanted to experiment on. So they're smaller. Oh well. Then this is my Max Gold zucchini. It is a hybrid. I try not to grow things that are hybrids because I want to save my seeds, but I struggled a lot with zucchini, and this is the first time I'm having success with them. And so I wanted to try a hybrid to see if they would be better with like disease resistance. Here's one actually that is ready to harvest. Just haven't got to it yet today. Yeah, I hand pollinate these, so I ensure that every bloom does get pollinated. So every morning I'll walk out here, and this will have a female flower at the end, and I rub a male stamen up, the pollen and everything on it, and then it'll be pollinated and make a nice big fruit. They grow fast, like overnight almost. And then this is small, because I started from seed later than everything else. This is a Royal Golden watermelon. I got the seed from Baker Creek. I have like 4 plants growing in here, so by the time this zucchini is done, and I'm gonna yank it out probably in June or something when we start getting rain every day, and the powdery mildew is just uncontrollable. As you can see, I do have powdery mildew already. I don't want to spray with stuff constantly to prevent it, which is impossible anyways. It'll get it anyways here in Florida, no matter what you do. So by the time this comes out, I'll have some watermelon, hopefully growing bigger than that by then. So the rest of the bed, I have more of that watermelon right here, and this is a small honey nut squash variety, and I'm actually really impressed because it's a very small plant and it's slightly productive. I have about 5 different little honey nut squashes growing on it. I think it's called honey nut. I feel like that's the name of all of them, but it is a small plant for how much it's producing. I have 3 of them in here. Let me see if I can get a picture of the bigger one over there. There's one. Here's another one. It's a nice variety to have if you have a small garden. They're very, very compact plants. Every time I grow squash or watermelon or something, they very, very easily overtake everything. And then I have more flowers, marigolds, more zinnias. This is fennel. A lot of beneficial insects like fennel, so I don't really like it to eat or use it in a culinary way, but I have it for the beneficial insects. And nasturtiums. I think this is Alaska mix. Really pretty. And this is the red Marconi bell peppers. They're loaded. They really are. If you're growing bell peppers, please pinch them off. Pinch off those tops. When they were about, I want to say 8 inches tall, I just cut off the entire top of that stem to create a lot of branching. And every time you have more branches, you get more flowers and you get more peppers. And I really think it works. A lot of people don't believe it on the internet, but I really think when you top your pepper plants, it helps. So that's all that I have going on in this first bed here. Here's the silver queen corn, the back of them. This is the Hawaiian silver corn that I started from seed in my YouTube video. So I did that April 6th. So April 6th, these were transplanted into this garden bed when I filmed that video. And it is May 2nd, and they've grown like over a feet since then. They grow so fast. I actually need to fertilize them again with some 10-10-10. And then over here, I have the Thai double blue butterfly pea flower. I like to harvest these and dry them to make tea. It's an antioxidant rich tea. Somebody gave me seeds for this. We traded seeds actually in a Facebook group, and I love this. This is great. I have Beatrice bulbs all over the garden. They're really cheap. Like you can get a bag of them from Home Depot for, I'm gonna say $6 or something. And the butterflies really like this. This is a tiny little, I think it's 4 foot by 4 foot or 5 by 5 bed. I just had some extra space and I want to use all of it, so I just made this little bed here. And I have the sugar baby watermelon growing in here. There's 3 plants. And I do have some little watermelons. These get like, I don't know, maybe 5 pounds or so. See, there's another one there. There's another one there. I only have 3. First time really growing them. There was another one that I harvested when the little tendril on the opposite side of the melon was dried out. That's usually what people say is a good time to harvest your melons. It was not ripe, so I'm struggling to figure out when this will be ripe. I'm sure I'll learn. And then interplanted into the spaces of this bed is big kahuna bush beans. So I just started those from seed, and see if I can get some before the real heat of summer comes. Bush beans don't really like hot weather, here in Florida at least. So usually summertime I stop growing bush beans and I switch over to yard-long beans, which I have a whole bunch already growing, and I'll show you those. And here I have some more yard-long beans growing. This variety here is called the Plump. I got the seeds from Asian Garden to Table. It is my absolute favorite. It's kind of like a light green yard-long bean, but it's thicker, really thick and meaty. I really like it. So that's going to overtake this entire trellis. This is Thai basil. When I go to the Asian supermarket, I bought like just a big bag to use for soup or whatever. But I put some of the stems in water just to see if they would take root, and they did. So I have this nice big Thai basil, and I have another one in another bed too. All right, so this bed is the bed that's 4 foot by 11. This was an experiment, and I'm not going to repeat it. So I got these T-posts. These are the 5 foot or 6 foot tall T-posts, and then I got this vinyl mesh. It's like 5 foot tall by 16 foot long or something from Amazon. These are really cheap. It's like $17 for a pack of 2. Great idea. Like, and they're very durable. They don't just break down and fall apart after one season. But as you can see, it's caving in here. There's just too much weight, and it's just kind of sagging. I don't really like that. It's going to make harvesting, these are all my yard-long beans, it's going to make harvesting these really difficult and hard to find them. So I see that some people get like the T-shaped plumbing pipes or whatever, and they put a cap on the top of this, and then they run a pole to the other one. I'm going to try that and see if that'll work to keep this taller. But I have one running on this side and another one running on this side. All of this is yard-long beans, different colors, different varieties. I'm testing a lot of them. And then in the middle is a watermelon variety called Strawberry Watermelon, also from Baker Creek. They said it was one of their better tasting watermelons. This thing is growing crazy. I think I have 5 plants in here. They completely overtook the bed, and they're coming out on the sides, all back there and everything. I have only found 2 melons growing so far. There's one right there, if you could see it. And there's another one growing on the outside of it somewhere. And then in the middle, I put a ton of different flowers as well. There's some more Thai basil over there. There's marigolds, zinnias, sunflowers. But this watermelon is kind of growing on top of everything and kind of choking them out. But, you know, I'll let it do its thing. And then along the edges of the bed, I have new Carota carrots. These were sowed in here, I want to say February. And I wouldn't dare sow carrot seeds beyond February here in Florida. They don't like the heat. They just won't grow right for you. They'll get stunted. So this was my last attempt at getting another harvest of carrots. This is the new Carota. She's doing really good, actually. A nice foliage. So yeah, this is this bed over there. And then this side, I just planted some more bell peppers here. I hope they do okay with all the heat that's coming. And then I have space here. I plan to put some more Asian cucumbers in here. The Suyo Long, I believe, is the variety that I'm going to try and put in here and test that one out. I had a lot of success growing the Asian cucumbers over the entire summer here in Florida. They will eventually die and succumb to powdery mildew diseases, but not before you're able to get a huge harvest. And this all along here in this back wall are my blueberry plants. I actually removed all of the soil from here and I replaced it with half peat moss, half pine bark. And then I planted all these blueberry bushes. I think I have 12 different, and they're all different varieties. They were not doing good until I changed out the soil. They really need acidic soil or they cannot uptake nutrition at all. So once I replaced that, and I've been fertilizing them with Miracle Grow's acid loving mix. It's a liquid blue powder fertilizer, but for acid plants, and they love it, and they're really taking off. They're doing very well. If I didn't do this, they certainly would have been dead by now. They were really declining in health towards the end of last year. So I ripped all of these out and replaced the soil with the half peat moss, half pine bark mix. That was at the beginning of January, and they're doing great. This is a new one that I just bought. This is Spring High, I believe, variety. So I gotta plant her. But anyways, here's all my yardlong beans. I have purple, red, the regular Orient Wonder, the plump, and I have Mosaic. Mosaic is not doing so good. I don't really like her. They look weird. They don't really look edible. These were planted in here in February. And like all my beans, bush beans, yardlong beans, the vining beans, they usually start producing in 2 months. And this is the size you want it to be when it's harvestable. This is like pencil size. It's nice and plump, pencil size. If you let it get any bigger, then they kind of get weird, like pockets of air in the middle, and they're not that great quality for eating. So this is ready for me to harvest. I can't remember if this is the red or the purple, but honestly I think both of them are very similar in color anyways. This is the plump, my favorite one, and I'll show you why. You see, they're really thick and meaty. This is a great variety. I've only seen seeds for this. Well, I got the seeds from Asian Garden to Table, and I've never really seen it anywhere else. I don't know if these are just the names she puts to her own varieties of stuff, but I don't care. It's a really good one. This is my favorite. This is the Mosaic. It's just, I don't know. I'm not too crazy about it. It's really thin. If I let her grow more, it just is not good quality eating. It gets all those air pockets in it. It's just not good. Very, very thin. Not too crazy about it. But here's some more of the plump. These are really long. I love them. So I need to harvest all those. And today I used to have strawberries growing in some towers, and I decided to take them out and plant them in the ground because it's gonna get really, really hot, and the tower was just drying out so easy. I had to literally water them twice a day or they would start wilting from lack of water. So I planted them in the concrete holes that I have and some within the bed, and they also love acid soil, so they'll do really great with the same peat moss pine bark mix that I have going on here for the blueberries. So this is a festival strawberry, did very well for me. And then this is another African blue basil. I have them all over. I also have Roman chamomile, doing really good. Some people grow the German variety. I believe the Roman is perennial, which is why I bought this one. The German one is annual, but apparently the German just has a ton of more flowers anyways. But I still harvest every day flowers from this. So, you know, whatever. So yeah, this is the entire side garden. This is my main garden. It's a very thin garden. It's on the side of my house right here. And I have a big privacy fence. So this actually keeps this area warmer by a few degrees than whatever is said, you know, to be the weather that night. We actually had a pretty cold winter this year, but it didn't affect my plants at all. I didn't even have to cover things. All these tomatoes, they were here during the whole winter. They did fine, no cold damage, no nothing. And I really think it's because I'm lucky to have a slightly warmer microclimate. All right, so this is the side garden. I'm gonna show you the rest of what I have going on. Side of my house. All right, so my backyard, I don't have a lot of land. I'm literally in a neighborhood with houses. So this is it. And then it goes to the other side there where I have more stuff growing. But originally I started with just putting cement blocks around the entire perimeter back here, and I've filled them with fruit trees. I have a lot of fruit trees, and in between them I have perennials. It's mostly just a bunch of perennials. So I showed you the bananas here. And I have an achacha. This is a relative of the mangosteen, but we can't grow mangosteen here unless you're in a greenhouse because they are very cold sensitive. But this is a relative of it called the achacha, and it's growing, doing pretty well. She likes afternoon shade. So yeah, planted that there last year. This is more of the purple tree collards, 2 more plants. This is Patomba, I believe, star cherry. She has a lot of blooms. I've never tried this fruit before. It kind of looks like a mini star fruit. They're small. So hopefully I'll get some fruit this time from this. This is all longevity spinach and Okinawan spinach. Okinawan spinach has a purple bottom. Completely edible. These are tropical edibles. They grow really well here in our summer. A lot of people like to grow them in Florida in the summer because it's one of the few things that will actually survive. But she kind of like overtook all of my beds, and I don't mind it because I don't have anything else growing here at the time, and it's crowding out all the weeds. So I'm completely fine with that. And when it comes to time to wanting to remove them, it's very easy because they're like these big thick stems, and you just yank them and it all comes out. It's not like weeds where you have to like pick. It's like one big thing all together. So pretty easy. But I do have a couple things growing in here. I have this dwarf moringa that I started from seed. I have a couple of them around, but this is dwarf moringa. And I have this physalis gooseberries. When I was in Georgia, I went to an international market and I bought a little thing of gooseberries and I took all the seeds out. So this is from those plants. There's 2 of them here. This is elderberry. This is one of my newer plants. Just planted her in here maybe like 2 months ago. I want the elderberries. I've never tried them. A lot of uses out of it, I guess, so that's why I wanted it. This is a Florida Hass avocado tree. Never been able to harvest from it. The majority of my fruit trees were put here last year, so I have not tasted them yet. So, but they're doing great. Florida Hass avocado. And then just some Gaillardia, I think is what it's called, that I started from seed. She reseeds everywhere too. Very easy to grow. And this is some more of the physalis. They'll get pretty big, like 3-4 feet, and they'll start producing tons of berries. I have milkweed all over. They don't look good right now. Everything, the caterpillars, the monarch caterpillars are definitely here eating them up. But they're all over my garden. They reseed, and I let them. This is a Brogden avocado. She's got 6 avocados there for me. Can't wait to try this. This variety is said to taste really, really good. This is Alabama blue collards. This is giant. This plant is bigger than I am. I don't know how to put it into perspective for you. That is one plant. I started her from seed last summer. They struggled growing during the heat of the summer, but once it cooled down, they like took off. And I absolutely love the texture when you eat these in soup. They're just really, really good to eat. There's a couple more of them back here that are going to seed. I'm definitely going to save those seeds and probably share them with other people. And then I have borage. I started this from seed as well. Bees love them, but my bees don't really come to these. They would much rather go to the African blue basil. This is a bunch of kale. It's kind of dying off now with the heat. This is a Nam Doc Mai mango. I just planted her here a couple months ago. I know everyone is going to tell me you should cut off these fruit and let her focus her growth and energy into getting bigger, but I can't. I just can't. I can't look at them, you know. I can't cut this off. I want to eat it. And she's doing great. She'll be fine. And then I have comfrey that I started from seed. I know these are going to get really big and really fill up the area in between the fruit trees. This is a rose, just Grenada, hybrid tea rose. This, I want to say, is a salvia. I honestly don't know. I had a wildflower seed mix once, and this sprouted from that, and it spread and reseeded all over. Look at it. And it gets really tall. It gets like 6-7 feet tall. I don't care, it's great. The bees also seem to like it. I'm guessing it's a type of salvia because of the flower shape and everything. It's fine. She's also filling up a space that I otherwise would have nothing in it, and it's crowding out the weeds. This is a Meyer lemon tree. This is actually the first time I've had this tree for like almost 3 years and never really produced for me. And this year she is. Tons of lemons on here. I really struggle with this tree. As you can see, there's some kind of nutritional deficiency or something going on. I don't think it's greening because as soon as I put like fish emulsion or fertilizer, she greens up again. But it just seems to be really finicky with watering and fertilizer, but that's kind of normal with citrus. But yeah, tons and tons. I've never got her to this point where I even have little Meyer lemons this size growing. So I think she's doing obviously much better. Some more of this salvia. I probably should cut it down because it is blocking a couple things. This is a jackfruit tree. I know she's gonna get big. I know it. My plan for all of these fruit trees is to maintain them at a height of 6-7 feet. I don't want them to get bigger than that because then it's gonna be a struggle to harvest. So there's another rose. I'm gonna have to cut these down just so that the rose will have enough light back here. These are some more wildflowers from that mix. I don't know what that is until it blooms. I could see a bloom forming, so I'll figure it out then. I didn't know what these were until it started blooming, and I'm pretty sure that this is forget-me-nots. And they're really cute, and the blue is a bright blue color. I really like it. I'm probably gonna buy seed for it and grow that every year. This is a Hamlin orange tree. This is one of the first fruit trees I ever had. This one, I'm possibly going to tear this out because no matter what I do, she always has this, I don't know if it's greening. I don't. Possibly it is because I fertilize it. I do all kinds of things to it and she just never bounces back. So I'm considering pulling this one out just because I'm worried that it might be greening. But I have a couple other citrus in my garden and none of them are like this. It's just this plant. But I did get this from Home Depot. The rest of them I got them from actual nurseries or growers. So I don't know. I can tell she has a lot of aphids. She's got black sooty mold. A lot of things. Just it's very difficult with this tree. I don't want it spreading to my other trees, so I'd rather just pull her out and put something else in here that will do good. And I have some more comfrey down there. This one's even bigger. These things get big. I know this. This is a Kerry mango. She's got 4 mangoes on her. So I can't wait to try that. A lot of people say it's one of the best fresh eating mangoes. This is one calendula, first time ever growing that. This is those little Thai peppers. When I went to the Asian grocery store and I bought a bag of them, I took the seeds out and they're growing and they'll be turning red pretty soon. Yeah, I have 3 different ones here. This is variegated Cuban oregano. So more borage. Borage, it's cool looking, but honestly, I don't think I'll grow it again if she dies. I don't think I'm gonna start more seeds for it because the whole point of it was that the bees would like it, but the bees definitely like the African blue basil more. This is asparagus. This is Mary Washington asparagus. I have one in there. I have some more planted in here. Gladiolus. I have tons and tons of gladiolus bulbs in here. Here's another one of those little Thai chilies. This is a Florida Prince tree, peach tree. Also planted here last summer for the first time. I think these are gonna be ready to harvest soon. Usually May is when you start harvesting your peaches. She looks good. She's doing very well. This is dinosaur kale or Lacento kale. I started these from seed last year. They made it through the entire summer, the winter. They're still growing. I don't think the summer is gonna kill her. She's very resistant. This is Mexican sunflower, Tithonia, I believe it's called. That gets really, really tall as well. The butterflies really like her. I have more asparagus in here too. This one is Jersey Night variety. I got it online. There's 4 of them in here, but they're small. They're still growing a lot. These are snapdragons that I started from seed. I don't know about you, but these I literally started these from seed in November, and they're just now flowering. It took forever. I don't know why. And then I have bird feeders all over. I really like to track the birds. I think they help me with pest management as well. This is a star fruit tree, Fang Twang, if I'm saying that right. She's putting on lots and lots of growth right now. I have not been able to harvest from it. She was planted here last year, so I'll see if maybe I'll get some harvest this year. Another African blue basil. Back here, this is a New Jersey tea plant. I yanked her out of her old spot, so she's got some transplant shock. I have not used this as a tea before. Someone gave it to me for free, but it's a big, beautiful plant. I'll try using her as tea someday. Back here, this is a whole bunch of ice cream bean trees that I started from seed. I think I have like 10 plants in here. I'm probably gonna sell them. I don't have space for, they get really big. Really, really big trees. I didn't think about it, so I'll probably sell these. And then back here, let me just show you. So I built this arbor to grow blackberries and muscadine grapes. So I have the muscadine grapes growing right here. I don't know if they're gonna produce for me. They were very small plants when I bought them, but they're growing a lot. And I did see a cluster of like what would be the formation of the grapes in here, but I don't know. I would be surprised. Oh, here it is. I would be surprised if she produced grapes for me this year, because the vines are very thin. It's not a big plant. I don't know. I could be wrong. This is blackberries, this thornless sweetie pie variety. I have 2 of them, and they're growing really well. They're starting to flower and make berries. You can see that right there. So hopefully maybe in June I'll start harvesting some. This over here is Tromboncino rampicante. So it's a big squash that you use like zucchini. I have 3 plants in there. This thing, I grew some last year too. Very resistant to diseases, to the heat, to squash bugs once it gets to a bigger size, mature size. And she will grow over this entire thing and produce a lot. I really like this as a squash alternative when much other squash doesn't do well here. All right, so as you can see, we walked around this whole side. I have 2 whiskey barrels here. This is mint. Smells so good. And this is a Mexican lime tree. And this is a hummingbird attracting plant. I'm trying to attract some hummingbirds into my garden this year. This is rainbow mix carrots that I started from seed January 10th. I'm waiting until May 10th, so they're a nice, good 4 months old, and then I'm going to harvest them. So in a couple days, I'll be harvesting them. This is another muscadine grape. I want to say they're all Southern Home or Alachua variety. So yeah. So then we have this side here. This is the corner, and we turn down here, and then that's it. So it'll end over there. But anyways, I've got an angel trumpet. This is the peach or pink colored one growing. More of the longevity spinach and Okinawan spinach that really just helps in the ground cover. This is mangoes that I've started from seed. I don't know the variety, but it's my friend's parents' mango tree that I love the flavor. I want to guess it has to be a Namdok, my variety. More asparagus. There's a lot of asparagus in here. These are too small to start harvesting now, but next year they might be ready. This is Jaboticaba. I've never tried it, ever, but she's growing really good. I don't expect to be harvesting this year either. These like to get a little bit bigger before they start producing, so maybe next year. But she's growing really nicely. I got her from Lucas Nursery. More asparagus and nasturtiums. I have them everywhere. The regular Greek oregano. This is a honeybell orange tree or tangerine tree. I don't know. Honeybell. I really like this fruit. I got that from Pokey's Nursery. If you had a chance to go to Pokey's in Apopka, I highly recommend it. They have very nice, healthy looking citrus trees. More asparagus, Mary Washington. More zinnias, gladiolus. Some herbs, some more of that Roman chamomile. This is parsley that I'm letting go to the seed, and I'm going to collect the seed for that. These white flowers here. This is a Page orange tree. Best orange juice I ever had in my life is made from Page oranges. Pokey's Nursery was one of the few nurseries that carries this. I went there just for this tree. So I don't know how to describe the juice. It's just super, super sweet and not very acidic. Very, very good. This is dill that's fallen over. Mammoth dill growing there, mostly for the beneficials. This is Italian parsley. She's about ready to die. The heat's coming. They don't like that. Not even cilantro likes heat like that. And then this are 2 beds of my tomatoes. I did a tomato video the other day where I showed all of these beds. So I'm not really going to go in that much detail. But this is a pink pomelo tree. This is one of my newer ones. I got this from Nick's Edibles in St. Cloud, Florida. That's where I got most of my fruit trees, actually. She doesn't get that big. She probably gets up to 12 feet, maybe 15 feet tall as a tree, which was surprising because it's a huge fruit. This is a hybrid basil that withstands powdery mildew and all that. I struggle growing regular basil because they just die from all the humidity caused diseases and stuff. So the miniature rose. This is a small Rollinia deliciosa fruit tree. I'm waiting for her to get bigger before I plant her in her permanent spot. I've never had Rollinia before, but a lot of people say it's great. So this is tomatoes, asparagus. Okay, that asparagus is like 6 foot tall. It's huge. More Mary Washington, and I plan to put those purple passion asparagus in all of this space here. That's all full of nasturtiums at the moment. Bunch of tomatoes, Paul Robeson tomatoes. Almost every day I'm harvesting some. This is a mystery orange tomato that I got seed out of from a farmer's market. More tomatoes and dahlias. This is Lavender Perfection Dahlia. Never grown dahlias before, so excited to see how that turns out. Very hard to see what this is because it's just so crowded. But I don't know if my tomatoes are going to survive. That's an experiment. We'll see if they'll survive the summer here. And then in that corner is another African blue basil. And this is rosemary. But I pulled her out of her old spot and just transplanted her here, and she doesn't look good at all. I don't know if she's going to survive. This is a magnolia tree. that I don't really care much for, even though she is blooming and it's pretty flower. But this is more scarlet runner beans. I just planted so it'll grow like all over this whole tree. Then the last little bit that I have is right out here. This is my bigger Rollinia tree. I got this from Nick's Edibles. I don't know how these pollinate, but they have these really weird looking flowers. I don't know how these pollinate. I would hand pollinate these to ensure that they actually grow, but I don't know how that's done. But she is really big. She's probably like 9 foot tall right now. So it'll be really exciting the day that I get to harvest something from this. Over there's a bunch of pineapples. I started them. Every single one of these came from the top I cut off from another pineapple. This is the Jamaican strawberry tree. She is flowering. The berries on this, they're really small, but they taste like cotton candy apparently. This tree is maybe 10 foot tall. I need a trimmer. I don't want my, like I said, I don't want my fruit trees to get very much bigger than 7 foot or so. This is Grummy Chama. I really need to water her. Wow. Yeah, she needs some water. But she's flowering like crazy. This, it kind of looks like a cherry. I did try cherries from this before. They're okay. They're not super sweet, but it is an edible thing. She's loaded. I've never seen her. I just planted her here last year. Never seen her with so many blooms ever. So it's pretty cool that this is going to produce a ton for me. This is the Barbados cherry. This is probably the most similar thing you can get to growing a North American style type cherry, but in Florida. This is the Barbados cherry. I've never had this before either. She's putting on a lot of growth. It does look like a shrub, but they get really big and bushy. So I'm gonna have to trim her as well and keep her under control. This is a dwarf mulberry tree. It's growing really well. Very neglected, but really growing well. She did have a lot of berries on her, but they were really small. Earlier, I want to say at the end of February, the beginning of March. Oh look, actually here's one. But they're teeny tiny. I don't know if it's because just this plant, I just planted her here like in February or January, so it just needs to maybe gain some strength to produce. I doubt the berries are going to be this small just because it's a dwarf mulberry tree, but I'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that is everything that's going on. This is May 2nd, and I plan to do a garden tour at the beginning of every month so you can see the progress and how everything grows. Thank you for watching.